I am now pleased to introduce to you our student speaker for this evening's commencement. Linda Paul is graduating from the Architectural Drafting and Estimating program. A survivor of the I-35W bridge collapse, Linda chose to begin a new career path by attending Dunwoody. During her time on campus, Linda has been an active member of Phi Theta Kappa, the two-year College Honor Society, and an active member of the Dunwoody chapter of the Construction Specifications Institute. She was also named to the Dean's List for every quarter she attended. Please welcome Linda Paul.
Good evening, everyone. As we gather here tonight to celebrate Graduation Day, I'd like to thank President Wagner, the faculty and staff of Dunwoody, and all the graduates, their family and friends who've come together today to honor a very special day. There are as many paths to Dunwoody as there are graduates here today, but my path is perhaps the most unexpected of all. It began on a hot August day 5 years ago as I sat in traffic on the 35W bridge. But something was very wrong that day. I looked up and saw the freeway sign buckle overhead and the road beneath me disappear as the south end of the bridge collapsed first. A moment of blackout was followed by a cacophony of screeching metal, exploding concrete, and clouds of blinding dust. But there was no panic. I thought, just be calm, close your eyes, cover your head, and relax as much as possible. My fear was that if I did die, and it seemed likely, that no one would ever know how completely unafraid I was. An odd time to worry about my loved ones and what horrible scenarios they might imagine. I landed at a 45-degree angle, smashed into the freeway sign, all my windows broken, a piece of rebar thrust into the seat beside me, and was rescued from my crushed car by someone who is now a good friend. And then I was helped by innumerable others. That day, there were many kinds of unexpected heroes, people who ran to the site of unimaginable disaster without thinking, without question, without stopping. What was proved that day is that anyone can be a hero, and I want to tell you that you can be the hero of your own life. That despite obstacles, real or within you, you can succeed. Actor Bradley Whitford said, "We all go through life bristling at our external limitations, but the most difficult chains are those within us." Now, my worst enemy has always been myself. I stop myself from striving, from a fear of trying, from a fear of succeeding. But disaster can be very empowering. The bridge collapse became that for me. What could have been the end of my life became the most positive, empowering thing that has ever happened to me. And most of that has been thanks to the incredible support I've been given over the last 5 years. Friends, family, doctors, lawyers, and members of the Minnesota legislature, I thank you. My incredible husband, Gene, who conquered the vast volumes of paperwork. My mother, Rosemary, who spent 3 difficult months taking care of me. The staff and faculty at Dunwoody who assisted me on my path and coaxed, prodded, encouraged, and taught me. I thank you. And you, my fellow architecture students, you know how much your help and patience ensured my success. I couldn't have done it without you. And yes, this is a time of celebration, but it is also one of great anxiety. What do we do now? Well, it can be almost anything. After all, school is preparation for the life to come. And that life may be different than anything you shiny new graduate can even imagine. Because remember, you can always change your mind. In a few years, or 10, or 20, or if God forbid, like me, you fall off a bridge, you may find that this career that you've planned for so carefully just doesn't do it for you anymore. My advice to you is be flexible, find a new path. After all, rigid objects tend to snap. Pick yourself up, muster your will and your courage, and strike out for yet another brave new future, and you can be your own hero again. Now today we celebrate. We've worked hard to achieve this goal, worked hard to sit here a little hot and uncomfortable in our 21st century polyester versions of medieval fashion. Ready to cross the stage where President Wagner will hand us that piece of paper that will catapult us into our new lives. Thank you, and congratulations to all the graduates.
Thank you, Linda. You have represented the other graduates well, and we wish you all the best. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce to you our keynote speaker for this evening. As Vice President, General Counsel, and Corporate Secretary for the Keynote Company, Heidi Wilson leads the activities of one of the top manufacturing companies in the world. In addition, she serves as the President of the Keynote Foundation, which provides support for Dunwoody's annual fund, youth career awareness program, and scholarship programs. Heidi graduated from the University of Minnesota Law School and teaches at the University of St. Thomas Law School. In addition to all of that, the thing that we're most pleased about, she's the parent of a Dunwoody alum. We're pleased to have her with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Heidi Wilson.
It's an incredible honor to be asked to give a commencement speech, particularly at such a wonderful institution as Dunwoody. You heard what my serious credentials are, but let me tell you a little bit about my real background and the real things that have given me the opportunity to have the job that I have today. I'm the daughter of an immigrant mother. I'm the daughter of a farm boy raised in central Michigan who, to find opportunities for a job, left to join the service when he was 17. I was raised on military bases. I went to 4 high schools in 3 years. I didn't know until the 10th grade that you could own a book. I thought books only lived in libraries. I have a full-time waitress degree that came along with my law degree and my undergraduate degree. And I often joke that's where I learned everything I needed to know about being a lawyer. It's really about service and taking grief, but that's another story for another day. I'm also the proud mother of 2 sons, one of whom's a graduate from Dunwoody, and I'm pleased he's here today. And I'm a grandmother of a 9-year-old. And that, more than my education, has shaped who I am and has really formed the basis for what I'm going to talk about to you today. I learned the lessons that have helped me be successful from my life experiences. It's my family that taught me that success, no matter how you measure it, takes hard work, that it takes bringing your best game forward. It takes playing fair, acting with integrity, pushing yourself harder than you ever thought you could. It also takes knowing when to laugh, knowing when to dance in the living room with your mom and your dad and your kid sisters and knock over a few knickknacks. I actually went and bought one that I broke 20 years later to return to my mother. I was taught to be grateful. And there have been times in my life that were really tough, just as I know there have been in yours. And I can remember one such time where all I could think about to be grateful was, wow, I slept through the night. And now I have so much to be grateful for. So what I've learned over the years is that success is about making choices. You all are confronted with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And how you choose to respond to that is what will determine your future and that of your loved ones. So I want to talk about some of the choices that I think you should think about as you go forward into your future. The simplest one is choose to do the best. If you're like most of us, you don't start in your dream job. You're going to have to do a lot of things you don't really like to do. I still remember the day I had to waitress 8 hours after spilling a gallon of Roquefort dressing on myself. But at any rate, whatever you do, if you bring your best game forward, it will make a difference and it will be noticed. My company has a rewards program for people who go above and beyond the call of duty. It's called the Leading Edge Award. And I just returned from it. And over half of the folks at that were people who work in our plant. And they were recognized because they went above and beyond the call of duty. They made a difference. They reached out, they helped other people in the line. They changed the way we manufacture. They changed the way we guard. They every day came to work and made sure that they brought their best game forward. You also need to choose to create your own opportunities. Particularly in today's market, things don't fall into people's laps. You know, you have to take what you can get and take it to the next level. Even in my career, I've had to look to find new choices and new opportunities. I started out as a trial lawyer back in the days when there weren't any women who were trial lawyers. And I did it for 17 years, I think, because people told me I couldn't do it. But it wasn't what I wanted to be. And after 17 years, I finally got the courage to say, I'm going to do something different. I tried for 3 years through networking and applying for jobs to get a different position. I ultimately took a position at Medtronic that everybody said was a huge step backwards. But I had a chance to recreate who I was. And after a year in that job, I realized I didn't want to have anything to do with litigation. I wanted to be a business lawyer. And I volunteered to do extra work on the side for the head of the business unit. And ultimately, by making that decision, I got a job doing the business work at Medtronic, and that led to a succession of jobs, including where I'm at today, which is a job that I'm absolutely well suited for and I love. In the process, I took pay cuts, I worked really hard, but it paid out. So don't be afraid to make lateral moves, to make changes, if there are opportunities to go for what you want. Choose to be a constant learner. This is what I learned from my dad. He never had a college degree. He started out with radio jamming. He then learned airplane wiring. He then learned how to wire missiles. My dad loaded nuclear warheads on the missiles during the Cuban Missile Crisis. He then learned how to wire computers. He ended his career as a civilian with UNIVAC, working with mainframes, which is a good reason why you need to keep learning because, of course, mainframe computers there's not a big job market to work with them anymore. You know, he always knew that the world is changing fast, and you, more than any generation that's lived, is going to see the speed of change at a phenomenal rate. And you learned so much being here, but you're going to have to constantly learn to keep up with it and to be able to have the opportunities that you deserve. Choose grit. Now, that's an odd word. I heard it on the radio, but there was a gentleman talking about a study that was done of creative people, people who write great novels, plays, create music, orchestras, terrific actors. And what they found is it isn't that they're more brilliant than the rest of us. They just, they obviously have a spark of something, but they work incredibly hard. They get up every day. They push themselves past the point that's easy. And if you have goals in your life, you've got to be prepared to have grit. Choose to learn from your failures. Maybe you're unique, but I don't know many of us who haven't had failures and who haven't made mistakes. And I've made colossal ones that have dollar signs on them. You lose a big case for $1 million, and I'll tell you, you feel like you're a failure, whether it was your fault or not. The best advice I had was from the woman I worked with at Medtronic, who when I started working for her, I said, You know, I'm not really good at this reporting to people thing. How do you want me to report to you? And I won't use the exact words that she said or I'd get in trouble, but she said, go out there, do your best, and don't mess it up. Because if you do, we're going to have to clean it up together. And if you do, come back and we're going to find a way to fix it. And that served me well because I do make mistakes, we all do. And most mistakes in life can be fixed. You need to be open about them and you choose to get wise from them, not to bury them, not to hide them. Choose to take pride in what you do. We had a gathering at Tenet recently for people who have worked for more than 25 years at our company. We had over 75 people there. It's a cool company. And I asked one of the guys who'd been on the line for 30 years, I said, I've just been asked to give this speech at Dunwoody. And what would you say if you were talking to a group of graduates? And he said, take pride in what you do. Because every job that you perform, whether you're in tests, whether you're in manufacturing, whether you're an architect, it all adds up to creating, in my case, the products that make our company great. So whatever role you fulfill in the companies you work with in the future, take pride in what you do. And I've got a line here somewhat from what Linda said, choose to make a change. You know, there's so many roads, there's so many paths, and you might think today you're on the right road for you, but you might decide somewhere along the line you want to get on a different road and a different path. And guess what? You can. You know, there are many ways to do it, but don't ever give up the notion that you can change. You're not stuck. You've just started, and the road lays ahead. So the closing choice is choose to have fun and to celebrate this great event. You have worked hard, you have sacrificed, your families have sacrificed for you. This is a night of celebration, and I wish you all the best.